All right. Welcome to Conspiracy Corner Podcast, everyone. This is Abe, your host. That was Motorhead Rock Out. Took a couple days off, just busy with work, been feeling a little unwell. Honestly, just physically, man. I don't know if it's season change or what, but just like tonsil stones acting up, throat, not much of an appetite. All I want to do is sleep. Which I do have like seasonal issues anyway, seasonal depression or whatever, along with MDD in general, but it gets worse during the winter and fall. Usually all I want to do is just sleep. um, which honestly, I wonder how much of that is just natural, because every other mammal, not every, but there are a lot of other mammals, like go into hibernation and stuff. I wonder if we were meant to, like, not so much hibernate for like months, but like sleep more. Does that make sense? I don't know. It's just a theory. Senbuku eyes. So today is September the 3rd. I have a plan for September 11th. I've done like one episode on 9/11. As weird as that sounds, I know this is a conspiracy channel. And I've only really done like one episode on 9/11. I've talked about it in passing, but I've never done, like, besides that one episode, like any other episodes on 9/11. So I might try to fit in an episode somewhere along the way on 9/11. Also, I have possibly an interview Sunday. I talked to my buddy Matt. We had a convo. It was so weird. I was supposed to have a group call that night with my buddy Luke and my buddy Zach, and I was on the phone with my buddy Zach, and all of a sudden his phone cuts off, and it literally says that his number was changed to a new number. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So that was really weird. Never ended up having that group call with him, because I was trying to hook my buddy Luke up with Zach, because he's got a channel that's just started, and I would like to see it grow, content creators helping other content creators. Yeah, so that was weird. I still haven't been able to get in touch with Zach. I don't know what's going on. But it's still all up in the air, the interview with Matt. He's actually talking about he might just come over here because he lives close, and I'm like, dude, that would be better. The sound would be better. More personable. My house is a wreck though. So yeah, just look forward to that. And like he said, if it doesn't happen like this Sunday, it's all up in the air. I mean, he's got time before he moves, and then even when he does move, I can still do it over the phone and stuff. But he's a pretty cool dude. We went deep, just the little conversation we had, I think we talked for like an hour just talking about all sorts of crazy shit. So, dude, yesterday, work was actually a decent night at work up until, it was busy, but it was a decent night at work. So my car had been driving kind of weird for 2 days. First day, I was literally followed by a cop, like all the way to work. And I didn't do nothing wrong, but it's still fucking scary anytime a cop's behind you. That's just my personal opinion and personal experience. And I noticed it was driving weird then, but I was so paranoid that when I got to work, I just completely forgot to check my wheels. Then yesterday, it was driving a little weird. So I'm driving the Cadillac now, the Silver Bullet. And anytime it rains or snows, you got to be real careful, like, hitting that gas, man, because it's real sensitive, and you'll fucking wow out like that. And I thought, well, it's rainy out. Maybe it's just, like, sliding a little bit because of the rain. No, I've been driving on a flat for 2 days, so I got to work yesterday, and my coworker's like, hey, Abe, you got a flat? And I was like, fuck. Okay. So I changed the tire after work. I accidentally did a store close at like 11:20, last night when we're not supposed to close it until like 11:45. So I had to kick all these customers out, shut the store down. My paperwork is probably fucked. My boss hasn't texted or nothing, so hopefully it's okay. It's this stupid computer, man. People keep signing off this stupid fucking computer in the corner. And then I try to sign back on, and I still don't know how to do it completely, like, correctly. And I ended up doing the store close early on accident. And I wish that that's like a rule set in stone of like, hey, if you sign this off, sign it back on for whoever has to do store close. But I don't know. It's aggravating. But yeah, life has been good besides that. So there's two things I want to cover. We might get into both today, but we're going to at least talk about one for now, and we'll see how we're doing on time. Alright, so we're getting into like page 6 gossip territory. At first I heard that Owen Shroyer from Infowars was fired. Then I heard that he quit. And so, fog of war, dude. Yesterday was kind of fog of war. So I spent like probably an hour or two watching what Owen said on his own podcast, and then watching what Alex said and how he reacted on Infowars. So here's my thoughts with Alex Jones. I believe he has put out a lot of good info. But I remember back in the day first finding him and finding William Cooper. William Cooper called his ass out about 9/11, dude. Not 9/11, Y2K. And was playing clips of Alex fear-mongering during Y2K, saying nukes were getting launched. And everyone seems to forget that. That there's several times that Alex has, like, fucked up. I don't think he fucked up with the Sandy Hook shit, by the way. I supported him the whole time. I'm like, no, to this day, I'm still, like, questioning Sandy Hook. Like, there's a lot of weird shit. And isn't it your First Amendment right to be allowed to say whatever you want, even if it's batshit? Sorry. That's my opinion. But, and the government does do shady shit. Why wouldn't they fake a school shooting? Just saying. And there's a lot of people that say, oh, someone did a paper trail. He was Ted Turner. He did work for Turner Enterprises or whatever. Ted Turner. It was essentially Ted Turner was his boss for a while. Actually owned Infowars for a while. So there's that. He is in my opinion, Alex is a Zionist. And Alex back in the day was so fucking cool because he used to, back in the day, he used to hate on everyone who was president. Like George Bush, Barack Obama. He didn't care, Democrat, Republican, whatever. Actually, during the time that he was hating on George Bush and stuff, Jr., the Democrats loved him. You would go into like a liberal coffee shop in like Seattle and find Infowars stickers, you know, hanging on the wall and shit. And then once he started, you know, going against Black Jesus, they're like, oh, we don't like you now, you know. So Jones used to be cool and didn't pick left-right paradigm. But something about Trump, dude, like I don't know, he just became like a Trump guy. And apparently Owen has been criticizing Alex, like on Infowars in general, not criticizing Alex, criticizing Trump. Owen Shroyer has been like criticizing Trump, which is completely understandable. My wife voted for Trump. I had almost thought about voting for Trump, and then I was like, no, because I was a big RFK guy. I wanted RFK in there. And then I found out RFK was jumping into Trump's cabinet. So there was a part of me that was like, well, maybe I'd I should still vote for Trump. That way I can get my guy in. But I'm like, no, I'm just not voting at all. Which I'm glad I didn't. But Trump has been doing a lousy fucking job. I'm sorry. There's people saying like, oh, the economy's better. And I'm like, what world do you live in? Like, I'm not like a Biden supporter, obviously, but like, I haven't seen prices going down. Am I just crazy? Or, I mean, I see my bank account dwindling and I don't go out blowing money. I really don't. Yeah. Like, I don't understand where this fantasy that the economy is getting better, because I'm not seeing it around here, you know. And he's lost me with this Epstein shit. Like, that was the last straw for me on Trump. And you can say I have TDS, whatever, but he has done a lousy, fucking horrible job with this Epstein shit. So that was one of the issues Owen said on his podcast, was that Alex was getting onto him, calling him a pessimist, which always bothered me whenever you state the obvious or state actual facts. Even if there is some opinion behind it, but you're backing your opinion up with like facts. When someone says, well, you're just being a pessimist. No, I'm just stating the obvious and the elephant in the room. And Owen had the balls to stand up against his boss and be like, no, Trump sucks right now, you know. So another thing I heard was he had not gotten a raise since 2018. And then I watched some clips. By the way, I watched a lot of this info through, well, actually all of this info through Ping Trip. Go check out Ping Trip. He does like these hilarious supercuts and shit. He's fucking awesome. And he's down to earth, man. Like, he is a Republican, but he's not like a Trump apologist or like a Q-tard. He's actually like, I could sit down and have a political conversation with him without wanting to strangle him. He's pretty cool. And he puts out good content, and he's funny. I dig him. So, yeah, then Alex comes on his show and goes on this insane fucking rant, which, by the way, I love watching. I don't go on Infowars and like sit down and watch it, but I will see clips here and there. And that's the appeal of Alex Jones, is the entertainment value. And Ping Trip made a good point on his live stream last night. He's like, I don't even care if I learn anything. It's just the entertainment of it, you know? And it's true. Maybe that's where the whole disinfo agent theory comes in. But, to me, Alex woke a lot of people up. And I say this about QAnon too. Like, I despise QAnon, but it did wake a lot of people up, you know. So, but it also, I felt like QAnon also discouraged a lot of people. So, like, the people who woke up and QAnon failed them, half of them are going to go, okay, fuck this whole conspiracy theorist thing. You're all batshit. I'm going back to being blue-pilled in my normal life. But there is like a large percentage of people who were normies and blue-pilled and woke up through QAnon, who, even though QAnon disappointed them, are going to be like, well, not all of it was wrong. You know, not the Pizzagate stuff. That stuff was correct, you know. And it woke them up to other conspiracies, and they're still going to be like, well, fuck QAnon, but I'm still going to be red-pilled. You know what I mean? I feel like Alex kind of does the same shit of like, you have to admit, he did wake a lot of fucking people up. So, is he a disinfo agent? I don't know. I can't prove that. I can't go into Infowars or his house and go through his filing cabinets and find CIA applications or employment papers or tax refunds. You know what I mean? I can't prove that he's a disinfo agent. And I'm not going to sit here and go, Alex Jones is a disinfo agent. Well, prove it, Abe. Well, I can't. I'm saying it, with no evidence. Like, I'm not going to do that. I just think he's funny, And he does say some shit that makes sense, and he does put out some good info sometimes. But I don't know. I like watching Alex for the entertainment value. I don't go looking to Alex for like good info, There's actually quite a few conspiracy channels that I watch mostly for entertainment. If I want like good fucking info, I'll go to like Minutes of Horror or Truth Stream Media, Tinfoil Hat, shit like that, So people watch Infowars for Alex Jones. And I agree with Ping Trip on this one too. I've never watched an Owen Shroyer segment. I don't hate the guy. I've never watched a David Knight segment. I've never watched any other segments besides Alex Jones. The whole point of me watching Alex Jones or Infowars was to watch Alex Jones act crazy. Entertainment. I've never watched anyone else on his platform. So one of the issues was, what I was saying about Owen not getting a raise since 2018. So Alex was showing papers to prove that he had multiple raises, even though Infowars has been struggling financially. We all know that because of the lawsuits from Sandy Hook. You guys remember, I believe I covered it. I'm about to, at this point, start a whole Alex Jones playlist. That way I can see what I covered. Because I'm on episode 500 something, so it's kind of hard to keep up with it. See what I already covered so I don't rehash shit. And make it easier if you guys are interested in just certain subjects. I've been trying to put things in more playlists and stuff. Organize the channel. But, said buku eyes. But, yeah, dude, so the thing is, though, anyone could just print out papers. So I do have to say that I love the whole, I've got the documents, There's an awesome fucking book. It was called Holy Blood, Holy Grail. And there's a shit ton of good information in it up until about 3/4 of the way through. And it gets into this guy. His name was Pierre Plantard. I know, his last name is funny sounding, but it was Pierre Plantard, and he was a Frenchman who turns out was an anarchist. And he said he was a member of the Merovingian bloodline, and he was like an offspring of Jesus. But the thing is he had this document. If you would have asked me like a decade ago, I could have told you, because I was really big into like the whole Jesus bloodline, Holy Grail stuff, which it's still interesting to me. But this book kind of turned me off a lot with that whole Grail Quest stuff. He said he was the offspring. I can't remember the document. I'm sorry, I can't remember the document. But essentially, he made a fake document proving he was the holy bloodline, the Merovingian bloodline of Jesus Christ. And it's all debunkable. There's a whole documentary out there. Just type in Pierre Plantard debunked. And I'm sure you'll be able to find it on YouTube. So, like, when people come up to me, or when people say, like, I've got the documents, it's documents. Pun intended, I guess. Everything's kind of an info war. I mean, anyone can just make fake documents. I wonder sometimes, like, when I go on CIA.gov, how much of those documents are just fake documents that they purposely made that they knew they would have to declassify, of just complete, utter bullshit. Disinfo. Because it's from the CIA, essentially, and they have to declassify every so often. So I wonder how many of that stuff is real and how much of that stuff is fake. I mean, anyone could just type up fake shit and just put it out there. So, I don't know. Even evidence is tricky sometimes, because I can come up to you and be like, look, here's evidence. But he was holding up papers and being like, see, this is the proof that I gave him raises. I don't know. My thing is I'm not going to be like a little kid and two fighting parents, because I don't care, for one, but I did want to report on Alex Jones and Owen Shroyer, because they're a big part of the conspiracy community, whether you like it or not. So Owen left, and he's starting his own like podcast. So I kind of talked about it a little bit earlier in this podcast episode of Alex Jones and Infowars. They were having like a shutdown period where the doors were getting locked, the lights were getting turned off, and Alex Jones apparently, can't remember what they called it, it was some sort of legal thing, but they stopped it at like the last second. Because I think it was The Onion was trying to buy it, and they stopped it at the last second. So they got Infowars back. So Owen had already started his podcast expecting Infowars to be shut down. And he got a call from Alex like, hey, we stopped it. You know, come back to work. So there was kind of that like, well, shit, man. I was already starting my new ship. You know, my new pirate ship, dude. And now I'm coming back to work to my old job. And he was just kind of like, okay, I'll go down with the ship, you know. And I don't blame him. You know, like, let's say, like, obviously, Conspiracy Corner is like my company, you know. I would consider it a company. I haven't made much money, but I've made a little bit of money. By the way, I got Buy Me a Coffee account set up. If you want to donate $1, go for it. It's in the description below. But anyways, so, like, I could understand if I had employees, and let's say I got the shit suit out of me, and my company was going under, but I was struggling to keep it. I could understand my employees already starting either their own podcast or new channels, or finding a job at some other podcast or channels. I would understand that. But I have a sneaky suspicion, and this is just me, this is all alleged, this is all my theory, conspiracy theory, that kind of stuck in Alex's craw, that Owen had already had shit set up for his own independent channel. And I have a feeling that pissed Alex off, and he's like, like, yeah, you can have your job back, but I'm a little irritated with you. So, but I mean, do you really blame him? Like, I don't know about you, but anytime like I've ever been fired from a job or laid off from a job, because I have been laid off twice, so I know that feeling too, of like, hey, we don't want to lose you, but we have to. Like, one was a tutoring job. They were making cuts, and they're like, yeah, we cut everyone. Like, we don't need you guys anymore for that program. Two was, it was a gas station. I was working at a company called Minute Mart, and I was the third shift guy. I ran the whole gas station on third shift, and they stopped doing third shift, so I had to go. They had nowhere to put me, so I got laid off, you know. So it was kind of one of those deals of like, Owen, you're not fired. So apparently, another thing too is the reason Owen walked off the job, and yes, Owen did walk off the job. This is one part where I did disagree with Ping Trip. Of he's like, well, I don't think it's right for any employee to walk off the job. I disagree with that, because I quit Kroger. You can go back and listen of the episode of Where I've Been, I believe it's called. I quit Kroger last year during the fall, because I had a boss come in who was drunk as a skunk. He was cussing everyone out. He was screaming at the top of his lungs every time he'd pass by, get to work, you know, crazy shit. I'm not going to work in that environment. Like, I didn't join the military. Just stop acting like this is the military. Like, if I had joined the army, I would expect that. But this isn't the army. This is Kroger, dude. This is like a grocery store. Chill out, you know. Yes, we're feeding the city of Nicholasville, but it's not the end of the world. You know, they can go to Walmart, you know. If Kroger went down, it's gonna be okay. I promise. We're not defending America over here. So yeah, I walked out on that situation, and one of the issues is I'm not saying this is a reasonable excuse for Owen to walk out, but when people say no one should ever walk out on their job, I disagree with that highly. Hell, there's a couple times my current job, dude, with stupid situations that I've almost wanted to walk out, you know? Of just two different managers getting real smart and saying some stupid shit to me, and I'm like, I'm gonna go home. And I'd go to the bathroom or go outside, smoke a cigarette, and call my wife, like, should I walk out? You know, and she's like, no, don't do it. I'm like, okay, I'll stay because you said so. Because I don't put up with shit anymore, dude. The older I've gotten, like, I just don't put up with shit. Now, a customer being rude or something, I can deal with that. But when it comes to, like, my boss being rude to me, I'll just, like, leave. I'll just be like, all right, I'll go home. See you, bye. Like, in 2 seconds. I just don't care anymore, man. I don't put up with shit. Especially if I know I didn't do nothing wrong, or I'm in the right, or they're handling the situation poorly, you know. So, Owen had his own segment on there. I think it was called The War Room. And Alex would keep coming in while he would be doing a show and interrupt the show and start talking about either another subject or something. Or just like Owen explained that like he would have like a 3-hour show planned, and then Alex would come in and say, no, fuck that show. I want you to report on these subjects. So he's got to go off the cuff, no script. I mean, or whatever, not a script, but like talking points. And he's just got to do this off the cuff. 5 minutes before a show, he's got to just go, oh fuck, now I got to talk about all this shit when I planned a 3-hour show and wrote all these notes for a 3-hour show last night. That's got to be real fucking annoying, because like as a podcaster, yes, I'm off the cuff a lot because it's podcasting, but I have talking points. I have notes in front of me of talk about this, talk about this, talk about this, talk about this. And it would piss me off if like they're like, Abe, today you're going to be talking about Bigfoot and the Bigfoot War in America in the 1800s. And I'd go, okay. And then 5 seconds before the camera comes on, you go, oh, no, you're going to talk about 9/11 now. I'd be like, dude, I prepped all these notes, you know, last night. I already prepped my mind. I've already read up again and like touched up on my knowledge of it. Like, you fucking dick. So that would be annoying. And there is like all sorts of like videos of Alex literally interrupting Owen. And I guess that was the last straw, was Owen kept getting interrupted. And just like the anti-Trump shit. Hey, I have no creative control over my show whatsoever, and that fucking blows. And it's supposed to be my segment, but I have like zero creative control. What's the point in me having my segment, you know? But I don't know, I see both sides, but I just wanted to report on it because it is conspiracy related, and it is one of the titans of conspiracy. I mean, we don't have William anymore. We don't have Jordan Maxwell anymore. We don't have a lot of like good older conspiracy people anymore. So Alex is one of the last few like old school titans besides like David Icke, Santos Bonacci. You know, there's like very few like old school people. Gary Wayne's still out there. He's cool. Yeah, I just wanted to report on it, talk about it. Let me know what you guys think of all this crazy conspiracy gossip. I love y'all. Please like, share, and subscribe, and you all have a good day.